Welcome back to another video. So today I'll be attempting another drawing challenge. This will be the 10 minute, 1 minute, 10-second drawing challenge. So if you haven't already seen this kind of challenge floating around YouTube, there's been quite a few of them. It's where an artist will take a design and attempt to draw it in 10 minutes, which, believe it or not, can be terribly difficult. As I learnt in this video, I really overestimated my abilities in this one, but you'll see in the video anyways. We then try to recreate that drawing in only 1 minute, and then the last one's 10 seconds, which is unbelievably unrealistic, but it was a lot of fun nonetheless. This was a lot of fun to do. It's a good challenge, so let's hop straight into it. Alright guys, so this is the image I am referencing. It's one of my own drawings, and we begin with the 10-minute drawing. So I started off with a pencil outline using just the old mechanical pencil there. And as you'll probably pick up pretty soon, I spend a little bit too much time drafting this one out, and it doesn't leave me enough time for everything else. So this one was a real challenge. It's kind of funny though, I found that this challenge sort of humbled me in a way. You sort of start to think that you can draw really quickly, or that your skills have surpassed a certain level, and you sort of realize that you're not all that fast and you're not all that good either. I'd really recommend you try this if you're an artist. It's definitely an interesting challenge, and I suppose the interesting thing about it is, 10 minutes is a decent amount of time, but I found while doing it, my mind was rushing me like crazy. It just wanted me to get it done. I suppose putting a time limit on what you're doing forces you to think differently and think in a more rushed fashion, which somewhat damages the quality of work, I suppose. Not too sure. Usually I'd spend a good 10 to 20 minutes just on a pencil rough before I start adding any detail, and just laying out the basic shapes and foundation shapes for everything. That way the image comes out exactly how I want it to, so this one will be quite interesting to see. So as you can see here, I'm going to jump into some lining, and I go to start with a 0.5 and then decide that there's not enough time to go back through and boost things, so I would try and boost things up from the start, from the get-go. And this resulted in some pretty uneven line weights, and you'll see at the end that I go back in with that 0.8 and boost a few things up. I wasn't too happy with the line weight on this one. Overall shape wasn't too bad. Obviously I left the banner out, the banner that I had in the original drawing. This was just a time thing. I didn't think I'd be able to fit it in there whatsoever, and that proved to be true. I barely fit in the rose itself, so yeah, trying to add that banner in would have been pretty tricky, I think. You'll probably notice a few times throughout the video that I sort of pause, and it might look like I'm not taking this too seriously and not rushing myself. What's actually happening there is I have to stop and consider things and think about things. It's pretty interesting. The drawing process is not entirely automatic. You do have to stop and think. You'll also notice here that I start changing the shape of things a little bit. So one of the things I've sort of just learnt over time is not to follow your pencil outlines, line for line, especially if they are as rough as these. These shapes might not always be exactly how I want them to be in the pencil outline, so sometimes when I do the inking process, I will change things up. And yeah, it can be risky because you're sort of going off of your plan and changing what you're doing. But usually, when you've been doing it for a little while, you get a pretty rough idea of what you're doing, and you can actually make things look a lot better. almost like an editing process. Once I've got the basic pencil lines there, I can just go through and edit out things I don't want to be there. And you'll notice here that I'm leaving lots of gaps and having to correct myself because I was rushing to try and get these lines in. I noticed that we're about 5 minutes in and I still hadn't done any color or shading. And so this is where you'll see that I've gone back in and boosted a few of those lines up because I just was not happy with the line weight. Whoops. One of the worries at this stage was smudging the pen lines that I just put down with the eraser, but I really didn't have too much time to worry about it, so we had about 4 minutes and a bit left, and we're going to start shading. And you'll notice some of my grey shading on this one is really messy. Oops, didn't have time for that. I feel like maybe this challenge might have been just a little bit easier if I'd done it in a different style maybe, but this is the style that I work in, so I thought I'd stick true to what I do, and if it comes out okay, it comes out okay. If it doesn't, well, too bad. So this is where you'll notice I start getting really slack with the shading and start to mess around a little bit. It's just me looking at that clock and thinking I have no time left to get this done. There was still so much to go. And my arm accidentally presses a few buttons and changes me to the different screens on my phone. Not to fret, the timer certainly still going. This ended up not looking too badly. I think it ended up looking sort of like an actual watercolor painting and a little bit less like the style that I do, but that's okay. It's okay to draw in different styles every now and then. I mean, I'm not saying it's good. It still came out kind of crap, but and it's sort of at this stage I realised I need to stop putting black and start adding some colours in, as I hadn't added any colour. I decided to do a little red drop shadow instead because there was no way in hell I was going to get that whole rose coloured in red. I figured at least the drop shadow gives it a bit of a traditional look and just makes the rose itself stand out a bit. Ends up looking quite nice. Wishing I had more time to smooth that out, but I don't. Not too sure if colouring in the leaves and leaving the flower black and grey was a good idea, but I don't know, you be the judge. Let me know in the comments below. And then this is just me not really panicking anymore and realizing that I still have about 20 seconds to do a little bit of extra shading in there, so I thought, why not? And that was the 10-minute challenge. On to the 1 minute. Okay, so we're onto the 1 minute challenge, and I'm using a Pentel brush touch pen. I didn't have any time for the pencil sketch, it just wasn't going to happen, so I figured I'd jump straight in there with a brush marker. That way I can at least vary the line weight a little bit and you know, hopefully get a little bit more dynamic shape to the lines. I think it worked out okay. You know, it's not excellent, but for a minute it turned out okay. You'll see here my automatic thought process jumps in as I start adding leaves that aren't in the original drawing. This is just from drawing lots of roses. I sort of just draw what I know. And you'll see here that I add a little bit of red drop shadow just to match the first drawing a little bit, I guess. That way it sort of at least looks like I tried to draw the same picture. For a minute, came out okay. This is the 1 minute drawing challenge. On to the 10-second ridiculous challenge. Okay, so we're about to start the 10-second challenge. Here we go. Going straight in with a big fat Sharpie and drawing in a few lines that hopefully resemble a flower. So we've got a few little petals there in the bud, 5 larger petals, and some little spikes for leaves. And that's all I could do in 10 seconds, but hey, it kind of looks like a flower. A little bit. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this drawing challenge video. Hopefully it inspired you to do something similar. Let me know what you'd like to see next in the comments below, and let me know what you thought of this video. Make sure to give me a thumbs up and share me on all your socials. You can check me out over on Facebook at Daggett Designs to keep up with my online portfolio and any upcoming work that I've got going on. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Peace.